Hello and welcome back to Crafted by Corie. If you're new, I'm Corie. Welcome to my channel, and if you are returning, thank you as always for being here. If you got to see my little introductory video the other day about pour painting, this is going to be the very first attempt that I do with having a little bit of knowledge now behind it. So if you didn't have a chance to see that other video where I told you all about all of the materials that I've ordered and what I'm going to be working with, I will leave a link in my description box so you can go back, take a look at that, and if you'd like to follow with me on this journey, I encourage you to come along and learn with me. I am not an expert at paint pouring. I am a complete newbie. I have started taking a class that's being given by some fantastic paint pouring artists, and I am going to start trying to do what I can with it. So let's go ahead and get right on into it. Today I am inspired by the ocean, and I don't know why I have just been really gravitating towards blues and greens and the whites and that frothiness with the white. And so I've selected out my Arteza paint colors in phthalo blue, hopefully I'm saying that right, ultramarine blue, phthalo green, and this one is a pearl sage, I believe. Yes, pearl sage green, and then this one is a pearl arctic blue. And these are the colors I'm going to be working with, along with Amsterdam titanium white. I have a squirt bottle here that I think I'm going to fill up with my titanium white once I have it mixed. I think I'm going to be using a lot of titanium white, so I want to make sure that I have it readily available as I go. So I'm going to go ahead and mix that first. So I'm going to set these aside, and I'm really going to walk you step by step through everything that I'm doing here. There are going to be chapter markers in the description box, so if you already know how to mix your paints and you want to skip ahead to the next section, please be my guest. Now, I am going to be adding pouring medium to my white and then possibly water as well. This is a pouring medium I am not familiar with. I'm hoping that it does the job for me. Again, just starting out, so we'll see, and I will be happy to share my experience with you. I'm going to go ahead and put my glasses on so I can see what I'm doing. Please forgive any glare. They probably could stand to be cleaned a little bit, but here we go. All right. Now this cup does have ounces on one side and milliliters on the other. One thing that I have learned is that if you are going to work in one measurement, just stick with that measurement. So I'm going to work in milliliters, and I am going to start out with 100 milliliters in here of my titanium white. And if you do follow Olga or Molly, Olga Sobi, Molly, I'm not sure what Molly's last name is, or Rinska Duna, they have a course that I'm taking right now, and they talk about measuring your paint or doing it by eyeball. I tend to be more of the eyeball kind of person, but because I'm sure it'll be more helpful for you all, I'm going to work on measuring for now. But please know that I eventually probably will start just going to eyeballing this because I'm a little impatient. All right, this is the first time I'm opening this painting in medium. So I think what I'm going to do here, just so that it doesn't come out in major globs, I am just going to pierce this with like a little triangle, just like so. And hopefully I made that sufficiently large, but I just don't want it to come all out at once. So I'm gonna try and limit myself here. And I'm adding this up to the 200 milliliter mark. So it's 50-50 paint to pouring medium ratio that I'm going for right here. There we go. Okay. All right, I'm going to use one of my fancy little stir sticks. These are all coated with silicone to make it easy for cleanup. Oh, and you also want to make sure that you're protecting your paint surface, your work surface. And what I have here on my table is actually, it's called Better Than Paper. This is something that I picked up from the Hobby Lobby. I imagine you can find it in other places, but it's in the teacher section and it's meant for bulletin boards. Not billboards, bulletin boards, those things. But it's got a white, it has a write and wipe surface on it. So it's basically a plastic coating, and I've used this in my craft room for quite some time now. It's easy to clean up. Things just tend to wipe right away. It is flame resistant. I haven't managed to melt it with my heat gun here and there, but for the most part, it's pretty durable and it lasts me a little while. So it's easy to cut into whatever size you need. I definitely like it a lot and recommend it. I've not tried it with the paint pouring yet. The last 2 times that I actually attempted paint pouring before I knew anything about paint pouring, I had used trays underneath my surface that were just disposable trays from the Dollar Tree. So you could certainly do something like that as well. But I figure this will be a little bit less waste if I'm able to just do it right on my surface here. You could also cut open a garbage bag and put that down to protect your surface. Forgive my tongue-tiedness today. Okay, so hopefully you can kind of see the consistency here. This is really super thick. So I've got my medium added to it. Now I'm going to start adding in some water. And they recommend that you just add a little bit of water at a time. I should probably fill one of these with water. That'll make it a little bit easier, but I just have it in my mason jug right now. So I'm going to add a little bit of water at a time, and I'm going to continue to stir this until I get it to the consistency that I want. Now, I have just learned through my class that you use different thicknesses of paint for different types of pours. So if you want to be able to use different pouring methods, you should mix your paint to the thickest consistency that you would use for paint pouring, because when you go to use your paint, you can always add more water to it. You can't take the water out once it's in there, right? So this is still really thick. It doesn't really come off of my stir stick, so I'm going to add some more water. Ooh, spilling. I'm definitely going to fill up one of my squeeze bottles with water to help me out a little bit going forward here. So I'm just stirring. Get this all mixed in. Okay, so I'm getting it to what they call mound on mound. So I can see the paint mounding up on the surface. It's flowing. Clearly you can see that it's flowing. And then I didn't get quite enough on the stick that time. But you can see it kind of mounding up on the surface before it sinks back in. So this is probably the thickest consistency that I would be going for. And so I think I'm probably about there with it. Okay, and then for my thinner pours, for the pours where I need thinner paint, I can just add water to it. But for now, I'm going to go ahead and put this into my squirt bottle. Okay, so I'm going to set that aside for a second. I'm going to mix up another batch and I'll be right with you. Okay, I've got my second batch mixed up. I am not going to add it to my squirt bottle just yet because I don't know with 100% certainty that I have the same exact consistency with the two. I'm going to work with this, and then when I'm done, I'm going to add whatever I have left to my squirt bottle, and then I can shake it up. The reason I'm not doing that first is that once you shake it, you're going to have air in it, and then you really should let it settle for about 24 hours before you use it. Otherwise, you're going to end up with a lot of air bubbles. So I'm going to set this aside. I'm going to work with this one, And then when I'm done with anything that's left over, it'll go into my squirt bottle, and then I can shake it up and wait my 24 hours before I use it again. Okay, so I've got this to the consistency that I think I want. I'm going to set that aside for right now, and I'm going to go ahead and mix my other paints the same way that I did the white. Now, I've done so much more of the white right now because I'm also going to be using that to cover my canvas at the beginning to use as my negative space, and I'll talk about that in a little bit. Okay, now that I have all the colors mixed, I'm going to go ahead and do a consistency test, and we'll see how well I did on the first time mixing all of my paints. So essentially what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a little bit of these paints to a piece of paper, and I'm going to lift the paper up and see if they all run in approximately the same amount of time and at the same speed. So we'll see how I did here. Okay, let's see. I'm going to put about the same amount of each. Hopefully get them lined up here. I could have spread them out a little bit better, but it'll do the job, right? Okay, let's see how I did here with the consistency. And it looks like I'm not super consistent, but for my first try, I don't think I did too bad. So it looks like I need to add a little bit of water to this one and this one. The other three seem to be relatively consistent. Okay, I'm excited about these colors. Are you excited to see? Okay, all right, now, found a hairdryer. And it does have the attachment on it. This is just an extra hairdryer that we had in our house, so it is now going to be the crafting hairdryer. All right, I've never done this before, you guys, so this is gonna be an experience. So give that a shot in just a moment. But first, okay, I gotta figure out what I'm doing. First thing I need to do, and I probably should have done this before I got started with all of the paint mixing, is to tape up the back of the canvas so that we keep the back of the canvas nice and clean. So I'm gonna set all my paints aside. Maybe it'll give them a minute to let any air bubbles surface, let them chill a little bit. Okay. I'm going to grab my painter's tape. Okay, and now I'm going to tape up the back of the canvas, like I said, to keep it clean. And this is just regular painter's tape. There we go. Okay, so the back is protected, and I'll go ahead and flip it over. And I have my little risers here that I'm going to use. But as I mentioned before, you can certainly use push pins. Can't remember if I mentioned that in this video or in the last one where I talked about the supplies. But you can certainly use push pins to elevate your project as well. That was a little trick I learned or heard about after I had invested in these. They weren't very expensive, and they're in my Amazon store if you want to check them out. They came in a pack of 16 in 4 different shades. So I'm using the blue ones right now. Make sure that this is all set. And then I'm going to make sure my canvas is level. Okay, now the first thing I'm going to do is start out by adding my white, and I'm going to cover the surface here. Now I'm going to start out with what I think is a little less than what I need, but again, this is the first time I'm doing this, so I want to kind of take it step by step here and get it to where I need it a bit at a time. I'm just going to use a little paint knife, at least I think that's what this is. I have no formal training, you guys, like none. If you've been following me on my channel for a while, you've heard me say I am not a painter, and I've had several of you correct me and say you absolutely are a painter. If you paint, you're a painter. So I do my best, but I have no formal training. So if I can do this, you can do this. And I'm approaching this like I would icing a cake. I also think as a beginner, as I'm starting to do this, I probably will want to resort to using push pins because I'm already feeling the desire to pick this up and move it in different directions. So I'm thinking that actually might be a good way for me to go, at least in the beginning, and see how that works for me. Okay, I'm gonna go with that. And all right, let's see if we can make this torch work. This is the first time I'm doing this. I'm gonna put it medium, open. Ooh. Remember, this is fire. You don't want to go too crazy with it. You want to make sure that you have a fire extinguisher nearby just in case. And I'm going to go ahead and close this. There we go. Closed for safety. But that helps pop the bubbles. So, all right. I'm going to set up some of my titanium white with a little bit extra water. Okay. Here goes, you guys. Let's see what we come up with here. Now, I thought originally that I might do an actual layering in a cup, but I think I want to try and do some sort of a design here because I want to use the blow dryer. Okay, let me see. Let me start. I'm going to start with the phthalo blue. And then I'm going to do my phthalo green that I lightened with the white. And then this is the ultramarine blue. This is the pearl Arctic blue. And then the pearl sage green. Okay. And I'm going to do a little bit of the white over the top. All right, let's see what happens. Okay, well, I got to use the hairdryer. I don't know how I feel about it, you guys, but let me see. I'm going to try adding a little bit more white in here because I feel like that space needs it, and then it just needs a little something in here. Let's try it again. Well, I'm going to add a little bit more of the white. I definitely have lost my negative space, but that's okay. Again, this is my first attempt, and I think what I'm seeing is the colors over mixing a little bit. I'm not 100% certain that I know what that means yet, but if it means what I think it means, then I think my colors have overmixed a little bit here. But they're really giving some pretty tones and kind of merging. All right, let's give it another go here with the dryer. Kind of cool, but I don't know. Part of me feels like it's a hot mess. Let's try it again. I did splatter a little bit here, and I'm not happy with the splatters, but I understand that those should be able to be picked up relatively easily. I don't know about picked up, but I'm going to scrape them out of there, and I'm going to add some more white. Some more of that white through here, I think. That's what I forgot to do. I forgot to add more white around what I did. That's what I forgot to do. So what I'm doing now, adding in this white, I should have done that before I started blowing it all out. Shame on me. I forgot that step. So learn from, from my mistakes. So when I added all the paint here, I should have come back in with more of the white around it, and I didn't do that. So that's what you'll want to make sure that you do. All right, I'm starting to like it a little bit more. This part is super cool. This part's a little bit darker, but you know what? I think I'm gonna stop messing with it. I'm gonna go ahead and fire it again to pop the air bubbles. Ooh, and I'm getting some fun cells opening up while I do this too. I mean, they're minor cells, but they're like little bubbly funness. Okay. How fun is that? Okay. You know what? For my very first attempt, I'm not too sad. Not too disappointed with my very first attempt. This is pretty cool. I'm just gonna scrape some of the paint along the edges here, making sure that I don't have a lot of buildup there, so it's not dripping. This is really pretty cool. Now I know that for my first attempt, I forgot to add the white around my color, so that's a lesson learned. I also know that I lost a lot of my negative space, so I probably added more color than I needed to. But you know what? This is a learning process, and I'm really excited that you're here learning alongside of me. Or maybe you do this all the time and wanted to see what I was up to, and you can provide me with a kind critique or suggestions on how I might make it better the next time. But I have some extra paint, and I do have another little canvas here, and I was thinking maybe I would go ahead and do that one too. So give me just a minute and I'll be right back with a second canvas, smaller one this time, and we'll see what else we can do. Okay, our first piece is over, set to dry. I have taped up the bottom of my little canvas here. This is just a Dollar Tree canvas, and I scraped up the excess paint that had dripped off of my other project, because I've heard that you can reserve paint and use it as a base coat. So I figured, why not? I will give that a shot. So I'm going to start with this mixture, and I'm going to go ahead and see if I can create a base coat here with this. I might need to add some more white. We'll see. I'm fine with that if I do. And I believe that first pour that we did was called a Dutch pour, in case I didn't mention that before. So let's see what we can do with this one. Just create a base coat here. I'm not sure if I'm going to have enough paint for it or not, but we'll give it a go. It looks like maybe I have enough for the base coat, so that's good. I'm going to go ahead and just use my fingers here and make sure that I've got my sides all covered. Give my sides some love here. We're going to layer this up. Okay. So I'm going to start with some of my titanium white. Clearly I already have that in my cup, but I'm going to just add some to the bottom. So I'm going to do some of the green. This is the phthalo green that I'd lightened. And then I'm going to do the phthalo blue. Then I'm going to do the Arctic blue. The ultramarine blue. And the sage green. I'm going to add some more white. Probably should have layered some white in between those colors, but live and learn, right? I think this is probably gonna be more paint than what I need, but I'm gonna go ahead and do one more layer. It's jumping. Okay. All right. Here we go. Wish me luck. This is gonna be a ring pour. Stop right there. I'm realizing I forgot to pop the bubbles on my base coat. I think I've got over mixing again, you guys. I don't know what I'm doing wrong, but I'm going to bring it to the edge and then take it back to the other edge. This way. Trying to get all my corners. You know what? I'm going to grab a cup here that I might be able to catch some of the excess paint in. Look at how fun. That's pretty. Now this is much darker than I had anticipated. And there's not a lot of I don't know, the variation in color isn't quite what I had anticipated. To be honest, I'm not exactly sure what I anticipated because, again, this is all very new to me. Let's see if I can get that corner without losing this really fun design. Come on, corner, cooperate with me. It makes me think of stone. Have you ever seen not a geode, but almost like, it's not quite marble, but this is actually really pretty. This is really, really pretty. Okay, I'm gonna set this one aside, grab another canvas because I still have a lot of paint left in this cup. It's definitely probably overmixed at this point, but I feel like I should give it a shot. Either that or I can just save it to make a base coat for a different project. So let me get this figured out and I'll be right back with you. Okay, here I am again with one of these larger canvases from Michaels, and I am going to do a base coat of the white, and then I'm going to attempt to use the rest of this paint that's layered in my cup. I don't know, it's probably going to be pretty messy at this point. Maybe that's what you call a dirty pour. I am still learning myself, but we'll see what happens. Okay, we'll see what we come back with. All right, so I've got my squirt bottle. This paint might be a little bit thick. I did not mix it, so actually maybe I didn't shake it yet, so I don't need to worry about air bubbles as much, I don't think. And my thinner paint might actually be on the top, which should help me out. And I think I'm just going to use my fingers because I found that worked pretty well for me on the last painting. So all right, fire it up. Let's open. I love seeing the little bubbles popping. It's actually quite fun. Close that. All right, so this is just the extra paint that I had layered before. If this isn't a messy pour, I don't know what else. So, a dirty pour, I should say. So let's see what happens here. I think the paint is definitely overmixed. I don't know if we're going to get any kind of pattern here or if it's just going to be one big mess. But I'm giving it a shot. Kind of do something different here. I don't know if this is a good idea or a bad idea, you guys, but it's dropping these really cool, they almost look like little candies, the red and white candies you get at Christmas time, but in blues and greens. It's kind of cool. So we'll see what this gives. And also realizing that my paint, because I had done it the consistency that I needed for the Dutch pour, which is a thinner consistency from what I understand, it could be that my paints were just too thin for this type of a pour. But you see inside my cup, I mean, they were still pretty layered. All right, let's see what happens when we lean this out. And I'm gonna go ahead and add some more white around it. I'm not sure if that's really what I'm supposed to do, but that's what I'm going to do. Right up along the edge. I feel like I've seen Olga Sobey do this, but forgive me, Olga, if I'm saying the wrong thing. All right. Let's see. You know what? I'm gonna just, because why not? Okay. And I just ran right over the white because it's a lot thicker than my blues and my greens. So we just ran right over it. I'm going to tilt it this way. See what that gives. Yeah, I'm putting the thicker white in there probably was a bad idea because you can see that's not really moving at all. Again, because of the density, viscosity. I think it's the viscosity of the paint. It's just a lot thicker. The white is a lot thicker than the rest of my paints here. I'll try and run these off into my cup. See if there's anything I can salvage there. It's actually kind of cool having that white running through it. It might be a happy accident, but we'll see. I don't know if my paints are starting to dry out a little bit, but they're moving at a snail's pace at this point. It's actually kind of cool with that white running through it. Wow, it's moving real slow. That's okay. We're gonna work it out here. I feel like I'm losing some of the design off that way, so I want to bring it back this way. Let's see what I can get going on with the corner. That center part is really cool, actually. It's kind of fun having the white run through it the way it does. I love this middle part. This is kind of fun. All right, I don't know what an expert would say looking at this, but I like it. It's fun. It's really fun. I don't know. Let me know what you think. I'm going to give you some close-up shots of all of them, and you can see what you think, which one you like the best. And if you happen to be a paint pourer and have some tips, I am like a sponge right now. I am completely open to suggestions. So let's go ahead and give some close-ups. Okay, everybody, that's it for today. If you enjoyed the project, please give me a big thumbs up. Leave me a comment. Let me know which one you liked the most. And if you have any tips for me, like I said, I am all ears. Until the next time, be well, be kind, and make it a great day. Thank you so much for watching. Take good care. Bye.